Welcome. I'm Melva Persico. Come with me, meet new people, and share experiences in this episode of Our Culture to the World. My guest today is Rose October, Dr. Rose October. Rose, please introduce yourself to our guest.
Welcome, and thank you so much for allowing me to grace your stage, so to speak, of Our Culture to the World. I am a dancer, choreographer by trade. I have done some acting along with owning a long history of emceeing, stage managing, and directing of theatrical productions in and out of the Guyanese community. As a matter of fact, this year I'm celebrating 50 years in theater. I can't believe it, but it's real. Yes, 50 years.
That's just telling us that you started at a very, very young age.
Yes. Indeed, yes.
Okay, so thank you so much, Rose, for that introduction. And I know you're here today representing the Guyana Cultural Association of New York, Inc. So tell us about that association and in what capacity are you representing?
So the Guyana Cultural Association of New York, Inc. is located in Brooklyn, New York, and we serve primarily the Guyanese community. And I say primarily because of what New York is about. We cannot be isolated. We are sharing so many different spaces with other communities. So although we are serving primarily the Guyanese communities, there are other communities that share similar cultures, and we're able to really do exchanges and appreciate what we have to offer in terms of our culture and traditions. So there's a lot of culture sharing. My capacity in the organization is that of an assistant cultural director. There are two of us. The other person is Morris Blenman. We support the work of the executive director, who is Claire Goring, and the director of the cultural director, who is Clive Crowell. In addition, our executive board members comprise of our other executive board members, I should say, comprise of our president, who is Ave Bruce Hayes, vice president, Edgar Henry. Our secretary is Jackie Newton. The assistant to the secretary is Patricia Jordan Langford. Our financial director is Eustace Stevens, and our assistant to the financial director is Aves Penny Bascom. So that's our executive board. And of course, we have in excess of 15 members who are actively involved in the organization.
Wow. So, that sounds like when I listen to the number of persons you have on your board and your executive, it sounds like this association, it has really a good foundation and good leadership. So how long has the association been in existence?
So this year, we are celebrating our 22nd year, believe it or not. We've been doing this work for quite some time. Now, the conceptualization for this organization came through two individuals, Claire Goring and Morris Blenman, who did this kind of cultural work way back when together in Guyana.
Right.
And it was in 1998 that the two of them got together and decided they wanted to do a folk festival. So the two of them spearheaded that. And then in 1999, they were involved in putting a Guyanese float out on Eastern Parkway. That was the foundation for the birthing of Guyana Cultural Association in 2000.
Okay.
So that's some of the background and the historical overview of how Guyana Cultural Association began. Now, GCA's mission is to preserve, promote, and propagate Guyanese creativity, and to document, showcase, and celebrate the multiple roots of Guyana's cultural heritage. Now, through our work, we preserve our cultural heritage and make it available through various channels to inspire future generations of Guyanese at home and abroad. I mean, we do a lot of heavy lifting, if I may say so myself.
It sounds like that. It sounds that way. Tell me, why do you feel, or why was it felt at the time that there was a need for such an organization in the United States or New York in particular?
I mean, there was none other, right? There was no place for the celebration of Guyanese culture to really be honed in. There was no place for teaching of the traditions. There was no place for gathering resources of Guyanese works. And this really compiles the work that we are doing on the ground in New York. We serve our Guyanese communities and I say communities because we have communities nationally, that Guyanese communities nationally that outreach us asking for resources. So it's really it was needed, and it is still needed for the service of our Guyanese here.
Right, exactly. Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about, you get in your overview that the program, sorry, that you offer, and maybe we could get into a little more detail on the programs, the services that GCA offers, and just tell us about those, and then and then we could get into a little more detail on those.
So I want to stretch a little bit on what I just mentioned, because
Okay, go ahead.
to really give context, the need for and the value of having an organization such as Ghana Cultural Association is vast. GCA is a flagship of Guyanese culture in New York because it is a reservoir of information when it comes to artistic and cultural materials and experiences. And if I may, also the academia piece, the academic piece that comes in, because it's not just about fun experiences, it's also about teaching experiences. And when I say teaching experiences and the academic aspect of what we do, I'm talking about not looking at only our history, but also how the different art forms are created, the foundations of these art forms, and how they are these days, because the trends are different.
Yes.
And we'll get into some of that. And when I talk about trends, in telling you how we have made Kwekwe a little trendy to make it appeasing and appealing to our supporters. But GCA is also a teaching institution in and of itself. I have to say that it teaches the public about our Guyanese culture, its relevance, and its connection to other cultures. In other words, we do a lot of collaborations with other organizations and other communities. And we really sit and we talk and exchange experiences. So the public is able to see how we are so much similar than different. And that's very, very important. Another fact that highlights GCA's work, and this is very critical, is how sometimes first generations are removed from our Guyanese culture and they can't pass it down to their offspring. So this is where GCA comes into with our season of events, because a lot of families use our events to teach their offspring, their loved ones. So that's very critical. Now, in terms of the programs that we offer, our folk festival season is kind of hectic and wild sometimes. As a matter of fact, we just started it yesterday, and we'll get to what's going to happen this year for our folk festival season. But traditionally, we start with the summer workshop series, right? And then we have the symposium slash literary hang. Those are two separate events, but sometimes we merge them together. And then we have the awards. Then we do Kwekwe, and then we have the big one, the family fun day. Now, the summer workshop series runs for 6 weeks. So we start right after July 4th, and then we end kind of sort of around mid-August. And the summer workshop series, that was created by Dr. Juliet Emmanuel. And she, along with Edgar Henry, are the directors of the summer workshop series. The hands-on individuals are Claire Goring, who is the executive director of GCA. I mentioned that earlier. Clive Powell, who is the director of the cultural director, and Maurice Blinman, the assistant cultural director. They really pull this program along, the cluster of those individuals, in addition to visiting instructors and counselors in training. That's the team that brings the summer workshop series up to par and move it along. Our summer workshop series participants are children whose ages range from 6 to 14. And they're exposed to workshops that teach them about STEAM these days: science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics, along with craft, music, etiquette, dancing, spoken word, creative writing, financial literacy, storytelling. And they're also treated to some visits to fun places by the end of the 6 weeks. So they get to show off their work at the end of the 6 weeks, whereby there is a staged performance. And they get into costumes, and it really would showcase the work that they would have done for the 6 weeks. So the music, the dance, the drama, the spoken word, the craft stuff would be like a little gallery when you walk into the space for you to really walk around and see their little signatures, and they get to perform for their loved ones. And at the end of the performance, I would call it, the closing performance, the closing ceremony, they get their bags packed with all of their creations, and they take them home and they put them up on their walls or wherever, so that they can be reminded of the great time that they had with at the summer workshop series this year. So the summer workshop series is celebrating its 14th year.
Well, sorry, I didn't get the number.
It's 14th year.
14th. Okay. So it's been around for a while, and it's like a nice little summer camp, and they get to do lots of various kinds of activities. I know a friend of mine actually was an instructor or a facilitator last year, and it was via Zoom.
Yes.
She's in Japan, and so the time difference had her.
So, yes.
Yeah.
We have to be thankful for our visiting facilitators and instructors, because we're asking them to take some time out of their busy schedules, and we are forever grateful. Those individuals who stop by and who stop what they're doing to give to the cause, to extend their knowledge and experiences to.
And I know you're going to tell us about more additional programs, but before we move on and before I forget, you mentioned people who make contributions. So if persons want to make a contribution towards assisting with maybe materials or what for the summer workshop series, how do they go about doing that?
Email Claire A. Goring at AOL.com, CLAIRE GCAGORING
Mhm.
or our phone number with which connection can be made is 718-209-5207. I would say those two would be the quickest right now, but
Okay.
we have
Mhm.
other media platforms. Of course, we have Facebook and
Mhm. Okay. Yes. So I kind of interrupted you to ask that question, but go on, continue.
so the other event that I will tell you about is our award ceremony. And currently, this committee is co-chaired by Ave Brousse, our president, and Verna Walker White, who co-chairs the Kwekwe committee with me. And the awards is usually held the last Wednesday in August. And there is a process. Many people think that, oh, I want to nominate somebody, and they give us the name and that's it. And when we say to them there is a process, they get angry. And this is posted on social media. And I guess, not everybody's paying attention, but there actually is a process. And this process really looks at how Guyanese creatives and artists, um, how they're doing outstanding work. The nomination criteria really goes through originality, scope, impact or influence, pioneering spirit, challenges, and achievements. Those are the 6 areas that if you wanted to nominate somebody, you have to write up about those 6 areas. So it's not just, I want to nominate Melva Persico and that's it. You just throw
Wow.
it in. No, it
Mhm.
has to be specific to the Guyanese culture. And those 6 bullet points that I mentioned, they're actually explained so that the nominator can have some guidance in how to write this nomination. And what happens after that is that there's a selection committee that is guided by a numbering system. So again, it's not out just after you put it in, that's it. It's like a competition, so to speak. And
Right.
we have 2 special pieces for the awards committee. And those 2 prizes, rather, pay homage to our Guyanese, 2 late Guyanese stalwarts, Godfrey Chin and Derry Atkins. So the uh, Godfrey Chin Prize for Heritage Journalism is really forged through uh, our support from the Godfrey Chin family, and though it's monetary prizes. And those winners really aim at how they write and promote the understanding and appreciation for diverse strands of Guyanese heritage and how they contribute to celebrating the commonalities that connect the people of Guyana. I mean, it really zeroes in on journalism in that way.
Mhm.
On the other hand, the Derry Atkins prizes give recognition for excellence in musical composition, performance, and preservation, as well as service commitment, to creative, impactful, and sustainable music education program focused on community engagement, innovation, and or excellence in music. In other words, you have to be serious about this whole
Mhm.
artistic piece. It's you have to be making a difference and really paying attention to how your contribution is not just about how it makes you feel or how it makes others feel, but how are you really passing the baton in teaching the younger generation.
Right. In terms of the culture and the heritage. And I really like, even from the time you started telling me about the thinking behind the association, your mission and your goals, it really shows that you're looking at culture not just on the surface level, but the deeper issues of culture, and really just being able to sustain and retain that heritage, as
Yeah, that's serious business, you know. And I say it's serious business because of the passion I share with my colleagues in the organization. A lot of individuals who do not truly understand culture do not grasp the concept that our culture really pinpoints our identity.
Mhm.
And it's very important that we are able to claim our own based on our culture. And that is one of my driving forces in being a part of GCA and the work that we do.
Mhm. Okay.
And in talking about the work that we do, I got a big smile on my face right now because I am going to tell you about Kwekwe.
Mhm. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, which is my baby and Verna's baby. We co-chair Verna Walcott White. We co-chair Kwekwe Night. And one of the things I hinted earlier was that we stylized Kwekwe. And we had to, because we had to do it in a way in which we got the attention of the public. And Kwekwe Night has been going now, I would say, for roughly 15 years. For those of you who do not know what Kwekwe is a ritual or an African ceremony usually done the night before the wedding.
Mhm.
And I'm just giving it to you in layman terms. If
Right.
my colleague and friend, Dr. Richard Greaves, Gillian Richards Greaves,
Brilliant. Uh-huh.
given us the real academic research,
Mhm.
information, which is fantastic. I will try and remember the name of her book.
Yeah, I have her book. I read her book. Yeah.
If you can find it and share the name, that would be cool.
Sure. Yes, I will. I will.
But she's really done an excellent job in writing about our Kwekwe. As a matter of fact, for her book, she had followed GCA's Kwekwe for many years.
Mhm.
And the foundation of some of what she's written about Kwekwe really stems from the work that GCA does. So in a nutshell, what happens at Kwekwe is the villagers come together and they bring the bride and groom to be and their families together while teaching this supposedly young bride and groom to be, teaching them about ways of life,
Mhm.
in every way that you can think about.
Right.
And it's really like a rite of passage for this young married couple. And it's done through song, dance, drumming is very, very important for us. And I say for us because this is an element that was not there back in the day.
Right.
Back in the day, the music was done through just singing, right? And the stamping of the feet on
Uh-huh.
the floor. That was the rhythm that took the dancing through, the songs through, the messages through. But we've stylized it and we use the drums, and the Kwekwe ensemble comprises of Winston Jegehapi, Akoya Rudder, and Hilton Hemerdings. That's the core. And we do have some visiting folks who keep coming back every year. And Saxy is one of them. We've brought in the sax, kind of. So it's given the Kwekwe music a different element. So we have that. And I must say that Hilton plays the keyboard. So we have that also, which is another shift. And, we made it trendy. However, during Kwekwe, we explain all of this. So the attendees get an education in what it used to be, what it is, what we're doing, while we're doing it the way we're doing it. And for them to also be a part of this celebration. I won't spend too long on Kwekwe because I can go on and on. One part about Kwekwe, though, is that we actually use our patrons, somebody as a bride to be, somebody as a groom to be, then we ask who wants to be members of the bride to be family, the groom to be family, and we create this stuff on the spot. And then we tell them what to do, and we have a blast. There have been times when real bride and groom to be would attend and they would get a real quick way. Yes, it's usually fun, hands down fun, really, really fun. And this is usually held Labor Day Friday, the Friday before.
Because I know you have a lot of I know you have some events during that period, like because that was like the literary hang, I know for sure happens during that same period.
So yes, exactly. So I'll tell you now about symposium and literary hang. And these are two educational forums. Like I mentioned earlier, yes, we do a lot of cultural stuff, a lot of fun activities, but within all of that, there is that seriousness. And not to say that our fun activities are not serious, but there's that seriousness of, okay, let's really look at some researches and researchers. Let's look at how we got here. Let's look at why it's written this way. Let's look at what are the trends. Let's trace our history. And that's where the symposium and the literary hang come in. Sometimes we've merged the two depending on what's happening any given year. And they're spearheaded by Doctors Vibert Cambridge and Juliet Emmanuel. The two of them spearhead that. And the work showcased really comprised presentations, readings, and the like. We've had some dramatizations too of pieces that folks might have written, authors would have written, and it reflects academia. These two pieces reflect academia on many levels, with a lean towards whatever the specific theme for the year is, or the subtopic that the symposium and or literary hang might be using for that particular year's celebration. This year, we have a symposium that is going from August 5th to 7th. And usually after the literary hang and the symposium, we have the mother of our season, which is Family Fun Day. Now, Family Fun Day is where everybody just would come together. And it's truly one for the family, because we not only have Guyanese coming, but we have other nationalities and friends of Guyanese coming out to reunite with loved ones. It's like a big family reunion. And I say that in its truest meaning because we do have a children's village that is one section of the field. And that's just activities for the children. There is a stage for them. They get to do their little performances, or they get to be entertained, and they get to learn things, craft. All of that is happening on the spot. And that's usually around like 11 o'clock to like 3 o'clock. And then sometime after 3, we shift to the main stage, where we have the adult performers, and we may have some visiting performing groups from other countries who may come. We have vendors that is selling everything you could think about Guyanese plus some. So that would be the place where you would load up on your Guyanese paraphernalia. And folks will come through and say, oh, I can't tell when last I had sauce. I gotta get my sauce. I can't tell when last I had black pudding. I gotta get my black pudding, that kind of thing. So people come out really in anticipation of savoring just the environment, being there and taking in everything that comes with the Family Fun Day. And, we usually end about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And It's a peaceful event. It's a family-oriented event. No, no history of violence or anything like that. It's clean fun.
So tell me something before we go on. Do you have an entrance fee or something?
Yes, there's an entrance fee. I think it's $10 for the adults, and children under, I don't remember the age. Please don't quote me on that. They're free, and the elderly.
Okay.
It's really, really a decent charge to come in.
Yeah, and that's affordable, you know, and to have a good,
At the door. Some people donate more at the door.
right, right.
You ask for donations too. So, you know, folks know that, and they come, they're so appreciative of the work that we do, and they give more.
Mm.
You know, and even if they don't give, then they would pledge that they would follow up with a donation, and they do, and we're thankful for that.
Right. So wow. So you know that I think all these activities probably have you busy, the members of the committee busy for getting everything together for quite a bit, a good period of the year,
Yeah.
to really bring them off seamlessly. But I wanted to hone in a little bit more on the literary hand. So I know you showcase literary works, but is it only from Guyanese?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Um, one of the paths that we have taken with most of our work is really looking at the similarities that we share with other nationalities. So we have Trinidadians, we have Barbadians, we have other islands, we have people from the United Kingdom, we have people from Canada. I mean, really coming to share in the work. And we'll talk about this later on with COVID-19. That really worked, you know, in terms of how our programs stretched. But for the literary hang and the symposium is not just Guyanese. No, it's not.
Right. So you're able to make those comparisons and connections, and all of that is really important. Yes, you don't just, it's not just one small group, even though we're not a small group. But and you GCA also has a newsletter, is that correct? Or some kind of journal that I've read before.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We have an online magazine,
okay.
and you also would have read, I think, and you'll correct me, you also would have read our journals, because we have produced many journals about the work that we have done. And the work, the journals really speak to, again, not just the cultural pieces, but a lot of traditional stuff, research work. So we have many contributing authors who would write a piece for the journal. So we've had printed journals, and we do have an online magazine that's being done quarterly now. So it probably would have hinted to maybe a journal.
Right, yes. And I think I read the online, a few issues of the online magazine. And even I'm going to back up a little bit before we move forward, because, this whole idea of collaborating and having, and not just limiting what you do to Guyanese. I remember, and I think it was in Dr. Richard Greaves' book, I remember that she spoke about one time when there was a group from from an African country. I can't remember.
Gambia.
From that, right, that they were a part of the Kwekwe night. And, so maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. Just.
Oh yeah. So in addition to other committees doing work with, I would say, the international community, one of the things that we strive for at Kwekwe is really bringing another group on, another country's Kwekwe,
Mhm.
at the time that we are hosting Kwekwe. And we do that because sometimes you're having small talk in the community with somebody who's not Guyanese, and you're telling them about Kwekwe, and they might say, "Oh, we got that too," you know, that kind of a thing.
Mhm.
And Salyu Soso, who is the person who led the Gambian team, he is a Mandingo, and a Mandingo is supposed to be somebody of highest esteem in Gambia and all of that. And he plays this instrument that I'm so in love with. Is so in love with. It's called the korra.
Korra.
And it's a for, and I hope if he were to hear me, he doesn't come looking for me to ask me, what have you done with the description of the korra? But think of the korra, think of the korra as kind of a guitar. It's a stringed instrument.
Okay.
And I think it has like 18, one of them is done with 18 strings and another one is done with 20 something strings. And the body of the korra is a very big calabash, half of it. And it's really very connected to Gambia.
Mhm.
So the korra, it's not xylophone, balyaphone. I can't remember. Oh my gosh, Salyu is going to hurt me that I can't remember some of the instruments though that they brought. And they have a ceremony that only the women do.
Mhm.
And the elder of the women, she would beat something called a water drum. And a water drum is actually a basin with water and half of a calabash turned upside down. And there are particular kinds of sticks that are used to beat
Mhm.
rhythm.
I
It's
can imagine the sounds that would come out. Mhm.
yes, and they're singing for the ritual, to go through the ritual of, you know, preparing the bride to
Girl
be.
for marriage.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. And
Okay.
we also had a group from Gujarat, um, India, and I'm not sure if Jillian was able to be at that particular kwekwe, but that one was very flamboyant with a costume. I would say costume, right?
Mhm.
Because that's how it appeared to us. But really, it's the garments, the national
That they would wear. Yes.
wear, right? And it was Ailushi Mystery, who is one of my colleagues who I've done a lot of work with through the Brooklyn Arts Council. She was the one who headed that contingent. She and her husband, God rest his soul, he's dead now. And they bought the costumes. We pulled a couple out from the audience, you know, one to be the bride to be, one to be the groom to be. We had the families, we dressed up the place, making the arches for them to come through, all colorful. So when you walked into the space, forget it. It really was transformation to see that. And then we went through the rituals of both the kwekwe and the similar ritual for the Indians who are Gujarati, and we talked about it. And
Wow, beautiful. Yes. Fun and educational all at the same time. Mhm. Yes. So maybe let's just move along. You know, you mentioned how people really look forward to the Family Fun Day and some of the other programs. So maybe you could go, if you could tell us what generally how engaged is the Guyanese community in New York and beyond in the events, in addition to Family Fun Day. How engaged are they in the other activities?